Hello there, and you are welcome to the most watched business show in the country. This is the Business Weekly Show here on Citi TV, and I am your host, Michael Obodu. In the next 1 hour, I'll be bringing you a wrap of all the major business news stories for the week, including the downgrading of Ghana by 2 international ratings agencies and the depreciation of the cedi. If you're ready, let's go. These past 2 weeks have been one of downgrades by international rating organizations. First was Standard & Poor's, and then Fitch followed. It appears the country's economy is in a very dire situation. What do economists make of this development? First, let's hear their thoughts on the S&P rating.
In its recent research update, ratings agency S&P Global Ratings revised Ghana's rating from B-/B to CCC+/C. The Global Ratings Agency said though government has taken steps towards consolidating the fiscal deficit, high borrowing cost and softening growth make it difficult to put the debt to GDP on a downward path. After careful assessment of the economy, S&P also reviewed the country's economic outlook to negative. The negative outlook, in a statement issued by S&P on Friday, August 5, 2022, reflects Ghana's limited commercial financing options and constrained external and fiscal buffers. S&P Global Ratings also noted that the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russian invasion of Ukraine have worsened Ghana's fiscal and external balances. Demand for foreign currency has been driven higher by various factors, including non-resident outflows from domestic government bond markets, a lack of access to Eurobond markets, and high costs for refined petroleum products. Currently, the local currency, which has seen a sharp depreciation in recent times, is nearing 9 Ghana cedis to $1. It will be recalled that government earlier this year introduced some revenue generation measures such as the e-levy, the tax exemptions bill, and some cuts in discretionary spending. However, S&P notes that while these changes could improve the revenue generation going forward, the situation remains challenging. In an interview with Citi Business News, economist Dr. Patrick Esuming attributed the recent downgrade to the unconvincing nature of government's policy interventions.
This recent downgrade reflects, it simply communicates that, whatever has been done in the last 6 months has not been convincing. You recall that early in January, when the other rating agencies downgraded Ghana, S&P didn't. And part of the reason was because they were looking at the additional measures government had put in the budget to raise more revenue. Just after the reading of the media review, you would have noticed that those additional measures are really not going to make a significant impact. And that reflects why, for me, that's a big reason why it has gone ahead to issue the downgrade. So you say it is following a pattern. This is slightly new because after those downgrades, we had new measures. This is telling us that those new measures haven't really made any difference. And therefore, we need to do a lot more.
Meanwhile, government has expressed its disappointment in Standard & Poor's downgrade of Ghana's credit rating despite the policies it has implemented to address the fiscal challenges confronting the economy. The Finance Ministry in a statement, however, said government will continue to be proactive in addressing the impact of these external and domestic winds on the economy. Here are excerpts of the statement.
The government is disappointed by S&P's decision to downgrade Ghana despite the bold policies implemented in 2022 to address macro-fiscal challenges and debt sustainability, which have been significantly exacerbated by the impact of these global external shocks on the economy. Government will continue to be proactive in addressing the impact of these external and domestic headwinds on the economy and on the lives and livelihoods of Ghanaians. Government has implemented key revenue and expenditure measures, including the 30% cut in discretionary expenditures. The delays in the passage of key revenue measures introduced in the 2022 budget affected revenues performance in the first half of the year. However, all the revenue measures introduced in the 2022 budget, including the review of the MDA fees and charges bill, the tax exemptions bill, the e-levy bill, have all now been promulgated by Parliament. These fiscal measures are now in full implementation mode to support our fiscal and debt sustainability policies. The government is committed and is confident that it will successfully emerge from these challenges in the shortest possible time, as we have demonstrated the track record to do so in the Akufo-Addo-led government. Our current engagement with the International Monetary Fund for a program incorporating our enhanced domestic program is expected to support our drive to restore and sustain macroeconomic stability, debt sustainability, and promote growth and job creation whilst ensuring social protection to achieve our vision of a Ghana beyond aid.
While we're yet to come to terms with the downgrade from S&P, we were met with another. Fitch Ratings moved Ghana's ratings from B- to CCC. But what does this mean for the country as she makes efforts to raise more money on the international market?
The recent rating by Fitch did not come with an outlook because the agency typically does not assign outlooks to ratings of CCC+ or below. This update follows Standard & Poor's downgrade of Ghana's foreign and local credit ratings from B- B to CCC+/C with a negative outlook. Ghana's B- rating from Fitch in January this year came with a negative outlook. 8 months down the line, the agency says the downgrade reflects the deterioration of Ghana's public finances. Fitch expects Ghana's international reserves to fall to close to 2 months of external payments by end of 2022 without any new external financing sources. Fitch noted that the government's high interest costs and structurally low revenue as a percentage of GDP have increased the likelihood that the IMF support would necessitate some form of debt treatment. It expects a deal with the International Monetary Fund to crystallize within the next 6 months. However, Fitch feels that the timing of such a deal is uncertain and will be dependent on the government's ability to present a credible fiscal reform plan in line with increasing government revenue and improving debt affordability metrics. For the remainder of this year, Fitch expects the government to meet the external debt obligations through a combination of a $750 million term loan from the African Export-Import Bank, $250 million in syndicated loans from international commercial banks, and up to $200 million from the government's sinking fund. In a reaction to this unfortunate development, Ranking Member on the Finance Committee of Parliament, Dr. Casey Olatoforson, has indicated that international rating agencies may further downgrade the country with a rating of D in the first quarter of next year if the economy does not witness a speedy rebound. He explained to Citi Business News the reason for this assertion.
But Fitch is late in the day. The only correcting things that they should have done earlier. In fact, our bond spreads are rating our bonds far in the C status. So what we see that these guys have done, Fitch have done, is a little bit too late. They are trying to correct what should have been done long ago. But I can assure you and mark my words, latest first quarter next year, Ghana's credit rating will be D. We are going to the D. Unfortunately, that is what it is, default, D. Because it is not avoidable, it is inevitable. It is not avoidable, it is inevitable, simply because we are currently not solvent, we are insolvent. Our debt situation is precarious. We are not in a position to service the debt.
Based on these ratings, it is not surprising that Africa's biggest bank, Standard Bank, has revised this year's projected economic growth target for Ghana from 6.2% to 3.1%. It has also slashed its 2023 gross domestic product forecast for the country to 4.1% from an earlier 6.8%. This forecast from the Standard Bank is lower than the government of Ghana's revised growth rate for this year, which stands at 3.7%. But really, what should we expect when we can't raise enough revenue to engineer economic growth?
Standard Bank's revision comes just a few weeks after the government of Ghana revised this year's projected economic growth rate target of 5.8% to 3.7%. According to the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, the reason behind the revision includes the heightened global pressures such as the Russia-Ukraine war, which has caused the revenue measures to underperform. But this forecast from the Standard Bank is lower than the Government of Ghana's revised growth rate for this year. The bank slashed Ghana's 2022 projected economic growth rate target from 6.2% to 3.1%. It has also slashed its 2023 GDP forecast for the country to 4.1% from the earlier 6.8%. According to the bank's Africa Market Review report, the country's growth now faces a confluence of downside risks in 2022 and 2023, adding that the government is running out of external financing options, which might lead to public investment in infrastructure underpinning growth over the coming year. Standard Bank said the balance of payments deficit will also widen to 4.1% of GDP in 2022 and then narrow to 2.6% in 2023. Furthermore, the bank highlighted the positive impact an agreement with the IMF will have on the Ghana Cedi. The bank also expects the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana to hike its policy rate by a further 100 to 150 basis points in 2022 amidst the country's inflationary pressures. Economist Dr. Patrick Esuming, reacting to this development, believes the slash of Ghana's growth rate forecast is an indication that the government has not gotten a handle of how to save the economy.
I think it's the economy is in a very difficult time at this moment. It seems to me that the government hasn't really gotten a very good handle of, how to solve our problems. A big chunk of our problems are coming from problems with government finances itself. So that already constrains its ability to use its spending power to boost economic activity. Now, it appears that it tried to raise more revenue. Those revenue measures haven't worked really well, even though we've just seen in the media review, we've heard some news about the exemptions and also the property taxes.
It doesn't end there. Ghana's inflation hit over 31% in the month of July 2022. This was mainly due to significant increases in prices of transport and food. This represents a 1.9 percentage point increase over the 29.8% recorded in June 2022.
The increase in the inflation rates for July 2022 comes at a time when Ghana's evolving inflation story in recent months has caused and continues to cause some concern for stakeholders in different quarters. Ghana has a total public debt stock of 393.4 billion as of July 2022. The Cedi has also depreciated by about 19.2% to the dollar as of 20th July 2022. According to the Consumer Price Index data released by the Ghana Statistical Service on August 10, 2022, the 31.7% represents a 1.9 percentage point increase over the 29.8% rate recorded in June 2022. Food inflation rose again to record 32.3%, whilst non-food inflation was 31.3%. Here's the government statistician, Professor Samuel Kobnainim, highlighting the impact of the key drivers on the increase in the overall inflation rate for July 2022.
Fish and other seafood recorded the highest rate of inflation of 59.6% and again has the highest rate of 1.0%, which culminated in the overall regional average of 44.8%. July 2022 rate of inflation stood at 31.7%, indicating an increase from 29.8%, which was recorded for the month of June 2022. We decompose this from two perspectives, from a food and non-food inflation perspective and from a domestic and imported inflation perspective. From a food and non-food perspective, we record food inflation 32.3% and 31.3% for non-food inflation. From a domestic and imported perspective, we record domestic inflation 29.2% and imported inflation 31.3%. From a regional perspective, we identified Eastern region recording the highest rate of inflation of 38.1% and the Upper East region recording the least inflation of 19.8% for the month of July 2022. Highlights from a monthly perspective: for the month of July 2022, month-on-month inflation stood at 3.1%, indicating a 0.1 percentage point increase between June and July 2022, as we did record 3.0 for the month of June 2022 relative to 3.1 for the month of July 2022. Decomposing this from a food and non-food inflation perspective, food inflation month on month 3.3%, non-food inflation 3.0%, indicating a 0.3 percentage point difference.
Meanwhile, economist and lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Lord Mensah, has warned that the country's inflation rate will continue to soar if government does not take pragmatic measures to contain it.
So inflation in our homes is more than the 30.1% that is put out. If it is fuel, I would say yes, 30% is a bit close. I'm not surprised that inflation rate is 30% because prices have gone up. And what is causing this 30% increase is as a result of increase in the forex. Our inflation is an imported inflation. So if the currency is going up, it is anticipated that inflation will also go up. So those who imported their food and anticipate to import more will know that by the time they are going, the dollar rate will not be the same. So they will increase the price of the goods on the shelf. Those who are importing now will also look at the possible exchange rate on the market. And then effectively, I'm not surprised that, prices are going up. But if our exchange rate demand continues to go up in that manner, obviously we will not see the end of this inflation. It will continue to go up until such an equilibrium point that will meet. We'll be able to have enough buffer to meet the demand of the exchange rate. So it is something that needs to be looked at.
Is there any end in sight? The Ghana Cedi is not doing well. The currency has witnessed a 19.2% depreciation against the dollar from January to July this year. The Cedi is now trading at over 9 Ghana Cedi to the dollar.
The dollar is currently selling at 9 cedis, but if you visited any forex bureau at the beginning of the year, it was selling at 6 cedis. Data according to the summary of macroeconomic and financial data from the Bank of Ghana for the month July 2022 shows that the Cedi has depreciated by about 19.2% as of July 2022 against the dollar. This shows that the Cedi has fallen into an unprecedented depreciation against its major trading currencies, especially the dollar. But what is accounting for this situation, and what should government do about it? Ghana's economy is going through turbulent times as it is plagued with a number of challenges, including the rising inflation, rising debt, and the rising cost of fuel. The country's currency has been suffering strong depreciation, especially against the US dollar since the beginning of the year. The Ghana Cedi depreciated by 16.86% in value to the dollar in the first half of 2022 on the interbank market. However, the rate of depreciation of the Cedi slowed down between May and June 2022 after the central bank introduced some strong monetary actions coupled with some fiscal measures from government to halt the free fall of the local currency. According to the summary of macroeconomic and financial data by the Bank of Ghana, on the interbank forex market, the Ghana Cedi depreciated against all three major currencies, that is, by 19.2% against the US dollar, by 8.8% against the pound sterling as of July 2022. Compared to the same period in 2021, the Cedi depreciated by 0.6% and 0.7% against the US dollar and the pound sterling, and appreciated by 3.3% against the euro. Here is an economist and lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Lord Mensah, throwing more light on why the Cedi's performance is not at its best this year.
Yeah, it's a structure of the economy. I mean, clearly, I won't miss words on that. If you look at the dynamics of the Cedi, the trajectory over the years has been that it's always going up. Every year, it crosses a district mark. So a district mark means that maybe we find ourselves this year at 1. We'll be within the 1.8 to 1.9. The next year, we'll be going to 2, if you plot the dynamics. And it tells you that, fine, we've been able to manage it within the year.
For some forex bureau operators who spoke on anonymity, the situation is already having a negative impact on their businesses.
Assuming that your capital inflow, if let's assume that I'm buying about $10,000 at the rate of maybe about 6.5, which is 65,000 Ghana Cedi. And now, since the depreciation, now I'm supposed to use more money to buy the same $10,000 at about, let's say, 82,000. Look at the price differentiation. That is normally affect our business, and it doesn't go well for the business itself.
Professor Lord Mensah is, however, calling on governments to implement some pragmatic measures so that the local currency does not cross the 10 Ghana Cedi mark by the end of the year.
It's not going to yield for now, and then also getting to the end of the year, there will be pressure in the demand of the dollar. You know, what we are experiencing has to do with the structure of the economy, but then there are seasonal demands that we've not taken into consideration. The seasonal demand, like when you're getting into Christmas, you know, Ghana is an import-driven economy. Businesses are going to build up buffers to meet the demand of their goods on the market during the Christmas. So they're going to put pressure. And so what we're seeing now is just, the structures that, the economic structures that is causing this depreciation. But once the seasonal demand sets in, we're going to go up more.
But how is this cedi depreciation affecting businesses that rely on the dollar for their everyday activities? It clearly would mean more cedis would be required to do the same level of business. This could threaten the very existence of such businesses. Traders and manufacturers are very worried about this, and they hope the situation will be addressed soon. The Ghana Cedi, according to data from the Bank of Ghana, has cumulatively depreciated against all the three major currencies, hitting 9.2 against the dollar as of July this year. Already, the Ghana Cedi has been declared the worst performing currency amongst Africa's top currencies in the first 2 months of 2022. The Ghana Union of Traders Associations gov't is concerned over the development.
It's having a toll on us. Seriously, if nothing is done about this, I don't know what businesses will be. Like I used in my press statement, we are bleeding to death because this thing have been very persistent. From December that the dollar was 6.4 to now that is 9.1. As I'm speaking, our capitals have been depleted over 30%. And from the way things are going, we are now going to make our Christmas purchases and all that, which is also going to aggravate the situation. So if care is not taken by November, if the trend goes on, then we will be heading towards 10 Ghana Cedis per dollar.
Businesses in the manufacturing sector have also raised similar concerns with the depreciation of the cedi. The business development manager at steel manufacturing firm B5 Plus Limited, Sandeep Saulani, stated that this has led to a major increase in their cost of operations, and he was therefore urging the government to address the challenge. He spoke to the media on the sidelines of the Ghana Corporate Brands Awards 2022.
Government has to fix the cedi rate somewhere down the line because this is something very key to any business, just not steel industry, any steel industry or any industry. Cedi rate has to be, come to some point where it has to be fixed, because if we are changing the cedi rate every day, it is affecting everybody. So I think some solution has to come from the government side only. I think it's like almost more than 50% because, everything you are buying, even if it's scrap, even if it's like, raw material, everything has gone up. So it is affecting you directly or indirectly.
Eugene Markwe, Head of Marketing and Strategic Management of Maxim Cosmetic Ghana, who spoke to the media at the same event, lamented how the development with the cedi was making doing business in the country very challenging.
Basically, we are managing, but again, you just have to be strategic. There are times that in some companies you realize that salaries delay and all that. Look, it's not the fault of any manager to want to delay salaries of their employees and all that, but it's the situation, okay? And especially when you are into manufacturing, you are producing goods, you need them to be sold before you can have money. Now you get the money, you want to even go buy your raw materials and the prices are doubled.
But what could be the way forward? The Ghana Union of Traders Associations gov't wants the government to immediately institute measures to check the depreciation of the cedi to prevent the collapse of their businesses.
The way forward is what we've been talking about. The government should sit down with that, reconvene the forest committee as we've indicated in our press, and this is so that we all prefer tangible solutions. And then I know that it will also help support the government.
The mortgage industry has not been left out. It is reeling under the impact of the depreciating cedi. Persons with mortgage repayment obligations are not able to honor their monthly repayment commitments, and this is impacting negatively on the mortgage business. Players in the industry are therefore calling on the government to speedily put in place measures to check the depreciation of the cedi to ensure they stay in business.
Currently, I'm paying a mortgage which started last year at a rate of 6 Ghana cedis to the dollar. I think averagely I pay roughly about 3,000 cedis every month as mortgage fee to the bank. Now, looking at the rate of the dollar, it's almost above 9 cedis. Last time I had to pay over 6,000 Ghana cedis to offset a monthly mortgage fee. I mean, how can I manage this for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years, for the next 15 years, based on the duration of the mortgage?
Felix Kabute is a mortgager, and he speaks to Citi Business News anonymously about how he's struggling to repay his home loans. He is not the only one going through this. There are many out there like him facing the same situation. Ghana's economy for some time now has been going through challenging times, including rising inflation and a rising debt situation. This is largely due to the lingering COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine crisis. Also, the local currency has been suffering strong depreciation, especially against the US dollar since the beginning of the year. According to the summary of macroeconomic and financial data by the Bank of Ghana, on the interbank forex market, the Ghana Cedi, as of July 2022, has depreciated by 19.2% against the US dollar. It is no doubt that the continuous depreciation of the local currency is impacting negatively on key sectors of the economy. One of these is the mortgage industry. Frank Opongyeboa is the manager of mortgage business at Republic Bank Ghana PLC, and he throws more light on how the situation is affecting the industry.
The cedi depreciation is seriously impacting on business and mortgage, as a matter of fact, because of the interest rate that has gone up. Mortgage is basically worked out based on age, interest rate, and then income. With those who have already acquired property through mortgage, the challenge is we can look at it in two phases. One, there are some who earn in cedis and took the mortgage in dollars. Their situation is worse because what happens is, let's assume for analysis purpose, let's use that beginning of the year exchange rate was 5 Ghana cedi to $1. Now you took a mortgage of $100,000. 5 Ghana cedi to $1 would be 500,000. And let's say you were paying $2,500 as your repayment, and because exchange rate of 5 cedis, it was $2,500. Now the dollar is about 9 Ghana cedi to $1. So your same loan, your income has not gone up, nothing has really happened. The same loan is now 900,000 Ghana cedis. Your repayment of $500 is supposed to be $4,500. Remember, your income was $5,000. Your income hasn't increased. So you will be left with 500 Ghana cedis to take home, to feed your family, your transport, utility bills, everything, 500 Ghana cedis. That's how bad it is.
With exchange rate stability, a mortgage repayment obligation, which is normally denominated in US dollars, could with some level of certainty be honored. In the absence of this, coupled with the economic crisis we are currently facing, mortgagers are struggling to honor their monthly repayment commitments. Sadly, there's little stakeholders can do to salvage the situation. Despite this, Frank Opongyeboa is hoping government and stakeholders will put in place measures to stem the situation.
Government is the hem of affairs of this country, and that we hear about the coming in of the IMF to help boost the economy and bring it on track. I don't think this situation in which we are would drive for too long. That's what I believe. I think that it will not take too long. Things will be normalized. Okay. So in the short term, I think that such organizations can have some relief for their customers, maybe deferment of the loans, repayment, or they can have some sort of arrangement with their customers and then help them in the situation, because we are not in normal times.
It's equally alarming for players in the shipping industry. Think about it. How are they coping knowing that the dollar, which started the year at a rate of 6 Ghana cedis, is now over 9 Ghana cedis? How are they dealing with this? They lament the Citi depreciation coupled with the high level of inflation means they pay more for the goods they import. The business operators fear that if nothing is done, they will soon be out of business.
I thought government was saying they want to arrest the Citi, so let them try harder and arrest the Citi. That will help us. If they arrest the dollar will help, and then the Citi will stabilize. Because if they don't arrest the dollar and the dollar keeps running and jailbreaking, we won't do anything.
The continuous depreciation of the cedi, coupled with a rise in inflation in the country, has been a major source of worry for many Ghanaians. The cedi has in recent times performed abysmally on the international markets. As of August 10, 2022, the cedi was trading at nearly 9 cedis against $1. Ghana's economy is not winning the battle against inflation either. In the month of July 2022, year-on-year inflation crossed the 30% mark to hit 31.7%, the highest recorded since the late 2003. And Ghanaians are complaining of hardships. These clearing agents at the Tema Port and Harbours are angry at the current state of the economy. Hence, they want the government to solve the problem of the falling cedi.
When the exchange rate is high, certainly our clients cannot go and bring cargo. If we cannot bring cargo, our business is out and then we are down. For now, the port is actually, most of the clearing companies or forwarding companies that are not principal at the same time, their business are gone. Because somebody talking about 3 or 4 or 5 clients, those clients have stopped or they are not bringing the volume. So our work is not actually going on. So it is a concern for us.
They're supposed to be on food runner, but everybody's sitting here, we are arguing, talking, and then we will go home and we say good afternoon to our wives and friends. And they'll say, Akwaba, as if we brought something. We didn't bring anything. It has slowed up the job here. It has really slowed up everything here. You work for a week, you stay home for a month before your importer calls you again, because the importer goes and then the price of goods has changed. The importer comes and then duty has also gone up. So he's in a fix.
Now you come to the port, the terminal charges, the ship line charges, you can't even bear the cost. So doing business in Ghana is very, very, very high. It's very, very high. And I mean, most of the guys are not coming because when they come, they can't even afford even their daily income. If they can do something about it and patch the dollar rates, we can do more, business, it will be fine.
Importers are also bearing the brunt of the woes of the cedi, and they want the government to act.
So what's the sentiment out there? Are people now probably considering using other African countries, exporting things there instead of Ghana?
A lot of people that I know use other African countries. A lot of people use Togo and not pay their rightful duties. They smuggle the goods into the country, and then again, they're in the same market space as I'm in the market space. But I'm being heckled with all these fees here at the port. I'm paying all these fees here. But the people that come through the Togo, they just come in. And they just pay their way through the bush, come in. And it's not helping us that we pay the rightful duties and they come to the same market space like we're in. So what I would suggest the government does is government can able to say that, hey, this is what we can do for people that import goods, since we can hold the dollar. This is what we can do. We can't tax them too much, so they could be able to use the port rather than use illegal means to come in.
The Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, GIFs, also lamented the effect of the depreciation currency on their businesses.
It's forbidden under the WTO valuation method to apply arbitrary or fictitious values. Those are the words in the law. So why are they doing that to the trader? I said I've bought my things $10. You are telling me they call that something in the law, they are substituting it with another value called $20 because they have got some evidence. Only God knows where they have that evidence from. So the benchmark values too is another contentious issue, communicating with the rapid erratic exchange rates, then the depreciating dollars. What the trading public is offering everybody, the free for their offers. We've thrown all our workers go back to the house, the economy. Yes, if I have something, I'll call you to just come and work and go back. That's the truth. We are not talking about small, micro, or the big boys. If I mention big companies in the freight forwarding or give facility that their workers are in the house now and their MDs only come to the office where there's something to do.
If you look at the dollar rate as of last year and now, around last year this time, the dollar was not even up to 6 cedis. Now, the rate at which we are using to pay duty is a little over 8 cedis. That alone is enough cost to the importer. So it increases the cost of doing business because most of our transactions are foreign, denominated, usually the dollar. So we do the conversion based on the current exchange rate. So the higher the rate, the higher taxes the importer pays. And the higher taxes he pays, the higher the price at the market. So for some of us, we propose that there should be some kind of, a fixed rate for a period. Like our senior brother said earlier on, in Ivory Coast is fixed for about a month. Can't we have at least a month or 3 months on a quarterly basis so that a businessman can properly plan and do the budgeting?
Citi TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access Citi TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV on your television. Citi TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and StarTimes box. Citi TV, it's your world.
The Bank of Ghana has admonished all exporters to strictly ensure they have letters of commitment in order to be allowed to export goods. The central bank says the letter of commitment is the best way to gain enough information on the country's exports, and that will help the repatriation of export proceeds back to Ghana and help strengthen the Ghana cedi.
The central bank says the country tends to lose in various forms if proper data is not taken on exports. Speaking at a sensitization program for exporters, which was being organized in collaboration with the Ghana Shippers Authority and the Bank of Ghana in Kumasi, the Deputy Director in charge of foreign banking operations at the Bank of Ghana, Eric Kweku Hammond, stressed that it is mandatory for all to comply.
Our focus here is on the price of currency in the country. Now, letters of commitment, it's an export document introduced by Bank of Ghana in collaboration with other stakeholders, which ensures that every exporter in Ghana, before you do your export, the document that Bank of Ghana requires you, to use before you can export is the letter of commitment. It is a document that has already been in the system since time immemorial, but with a different name. Okay, but that system was purely manual, and with development in technology, Bank of Ghana, in collaboration with other stakeholders, took the decision to automate the manual system And in automation, we rechristened that document letters of what? Commitment. So it is a mandatory document that every exporter is supposed to generate and use for their export.
He added that all persons who fail to produce their letters of commitment will be appropriately sanctioned henceforth. He says a foreign exchange reserves arriving from this will help make the Ghana cedi strong.
This letters of commitment is backed by law. If you read section 15 of the Foreign Exchange Act, it tells you that every exporter is supposed to repatriate export proceeds using the banking system registered in Ghana. And so if you fail to do that, you are going to be sanctioned. And the sanctions are so punitive. One, you will be asked to pay 5,000 penalty unit, or you could also be sentenced to a jail term of not more than 10 years, or it could be both. So that tells you how punitive, how serious it is if you fail as an exporter to repatriate your export proceeds. And then also to buttress our point, we know that every country earns foreign exchange from export. And in Ghana, our legal tender is the Ghana cedi and not any other currency. And so we need the foreign exchange earned from export to build up our reserve to support our cedi to make it stronger.
On her part, the head of Shipper Services and Trade Facilitation of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Monica Josiah, urged exporters to comply with the directive of having letters of commitment to avoid being sanctioned. She says that will also create an avenue for them to raise pressing issues affecting the operations.
For the Ghana Shippers Authority, we have taken up this because we realize that the incidence of some of the sanctions, for instance, when they are blocked, we have had instances where people have sent their cargo to the ports and then they are informed that they cannot ship because of LOC. And so we have taken it upon ourselves to also bring them create a platform for Bank of Ghana to educate and sensitize them. There's also been a constitution of an intersectoral committee comprising various agencies, GRA Customs, exporters, the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, the Federation of Ghanaian Exporters, and Ghana Association of Banks, so that we actually take the collated concerns of the exporters and make recommendations as to how the letter of commitment can be improved so that it better serves their needs and also help Ghana to achieve whatever economic expectations or economic goals we have in mind. So basically that is the rationale for this program.
Have you heard of the Bank of Ghana's eCedi? Many were worried that it could collapse the mobile money ecosystem, but the BOG has allayed all fears. The bank says its quest to implement the digital currency, also known as the eCedi, will not be disruptive. According to the regulator, the implementation will rather be a positive one in the Momo value chain, adding that it remains committed to protecting the businesses of Momo agents as it positions itself to implement the eCedi.
The government has adopted digitization as a key policy and has recently introduced a number of programs, including the digital currency, which is yet to be operational, in order to develop a more digitally accessible public sector and encourage transparency. The digital cedi or eCedi is intended to complement and serve as a digital alternative to physical cash, thus driving the Ghanaian cash light agenda through the promotion of diverse digital payments while ensuring a secure and robust payments infrastructure in Ghana. The central bank announced plans to start a 3-phased pilot of the currency to determine its feasibility and also subsequent circulation in June last year. But currently, the regulation insists plans are far advanced for the implementation to be done. It, however, failed to give any deadlines or timelines for the introduction. Speaking at the MTN Momo Stakeholder Forum organized, which explored the impact of the central bank's digital currency on future monetary policy and digital payment, the Bank of Ghana has assured that its quest to implement the digital currency, also known as the Cedi, will not disrupt or collapse the mobile money system. The Assistant Director in charge of FinTech and Innovation at the Bank of Ghana, Clarence Blay, maintained that his outfit is committed to protect the businesses of Momo agents as it positions itself to implement the Cedi. When questioned as to whether the digital currency will have the electronic transfer levy applied in any form, Clarence Blay has this to say.
The attribute of free, vis-a-vis, free, I put it in quotes, because there are a lot of costs associated with the fiscal currency that I think we don't have enough time to go into it. But what we are saying when it comes to Cedi being free is that it will be free of charges.
No e-levy.
The central bank will not
no e-levy on
place
Cedi.
any charge on Cedi. Okay. But there could be other fees that may come from the service provider. That may come from the service provider based on the value-added service that they are giving. But the core function, it will be free.
On his part, the CEO of MTN Mobile Money Limited, Eli Hini, urged mobile money vendors to embrace themselves for the positive impact that will come with the implementation of the digital currency.
Today, our settlement cycle takes a bit of time, but with Cedi and its proper implementation, it will address that problem and improve on the efficiency of settlement. So we don't have to hold or tie up money waiting for a settlement to happen before we can have value. The second one is our agents today, if they want to do rebalancing or of their float, have to carry physical cash to the bank to undertake that, or vice versa. And this helps to address that and speeds up the process, because now that he has Cedi account, he can do that intervention and be able to move money quickly into his mobile money account, or vice versa, to execute transactions. And I talked about cross-border trade. Our traders still carry huge sums of money. How can we improve upon that and reduce the risk of carrying physical cash? We see an opportunity there as well. So we look at it within those contexts for the benefit of the ecosystem. Like I mentioned, innovation will always come. And just like mobile money came to create opportunities for people, other innovations will come with these opportunities, and we should be ready to embrace it.
Let's talk about establishing a vaccine manufacturing facility in Ghana, because the Food and Drugs Authority, FDA, has revealed plans to begin training its staff and setting up of state-of-the-art laboratories. The FDA says this is part of efforts to be positioned effectively as the nation works on manufacturing vaccines in the country. In line with this, 2.8 million euros have been allocated to the authority to facilitate same. President Akufo-Addo, in his State of the Nation address in March this year, said Ghana will start producing its own COVID-19 vaccines in January 2024. Speaking to the media on the sidelines of the launch of the institutional and technical strengthening of the Food and Drugs Authority for vaccine manufacturing in Ghana, CEO of the authority, Delisi Dako, stated that her outfit is working to bring its staff up to speed with the latest vaccine production skills and technology.
In the times of COVID, yes, we were testing vaccines. The vaccines that came in, we did test them, but we did not need to do them. So now we are building the capacity to be able to, we are building a molecular laboratory that we did not have. Okay, we do not currently have it. We are building a clean room. Okay, so that is what the GIZ and the EU are funding. To inspect a vaccine plant, yes, we've been inspecting the vaccine plants all over the world. So we have that capacity. But we need to train more people to be able to do it. So we have inspectors, we need to train more people. Evaluating vaccine documentation, we have people who can do it. We are going to train more people because the factories are going to be here. Okay, so really at the moment what the capacity is that we'll build our laboratory to a level which is called the biosafety level 4 biosafety level 3, so we can test the vaccines ourselves here. All the specifications. There are new vaccines that are coming. We have the mRNA technology that is coming. New technologies are coming. We are building capacity within our laboratories to be able to do that. And that is what they are helping us with.
Speaking at the same event, German Development Corporation expressed its commitment to ensuring Ghana begins the production of vaccines.
Our initiative is actually part of a general support to the vaccine committee. I'm sure you heard about the vaccine committee today, which is moving to a vaccine institute. And our role as German Development Corporation is to support this process so that in future Ghana is ready to produce their own vaccines, first through a fill and finish approach and later to a full production process.
Meanwhile, government says it will be collaborating with the private sector to ensure the project materializes.
What we want to do is to build capacity in Ghana for Ghana to become a hub, like it's been done in India and everywhere. So Ghana government is going to work through the private sector. So the private sector will be assisted, facilitated, and we coordinate the activities of the private sector to be able to put up factories in the country to provide a well-recognized food and drugs, well-recognized vaccines and other biologicals. The Ministry of Health have come out of a national vaccine policy. We have also come out with the roadmap, and we have gone through the stakeholders processes with the academia, everybody who concerned, and now we have a roadmap that we are working with.
The Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SSNIT, says it will be making huge savings when processes to merge data of the working population with the Ghana card are completed. SSNIT says it has so far issued biometric identity cards to 2 million active contributors out of the estimated 10 million working force in both the formal and informal sectors.
The Ghana card has been the only identification card recognized by SSNIT in compliance with Regulation 7.1 of the National Identity Register Regulations, which requires the use of the Ghana card as identification for transactions relating to pensions. Officials are currently merging both SSNIT and NIA numbers to enable members of the trust get access to social security services and pensions. The Director General of SSNIT, Dr. John Ofori-Tinkran, explains that the Ghana card has not only improved services at SSNIT, but has also helped the outfit to save money.
If one were to say there are 10 million workers in Ghana, out of which maybe 2 million people have been issued SSNIT cards. So if we were to go ahead and register our Ghanaians workers, then we're talking about another 8 million people that need to be registered, right? And in 2017, we were paying, the cost of card alone was about $7.1 per card, $7.10. So let's call it $7. So if we were to register these people who do not have SSNIT cards, people in the informal sector and so on, then you're talking about roughly $7 times about another 8 million. That's $56 million.
Dr. Tinkran spoke during the 2022 engagement between SSNIT and members of the Trades Union Congress in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi. The engagement was to enable SSNIT explain its services and make some clarifications to members of the labor union and also listen to concerns they have about pensions. The TUC also urged employees to demand better salaries from their employers to enable them make better contributions to SSNIT.
Workers need salary. Everybody is working for improved salary. If not big salary, then it should be improved salary. If your salary is small, you obviously go home with little, and then it means that your pension is also small. So workers demand that their employers pays them higher salaries so that they can contribute the 17.5 or the 11% to SSNIT. If my salary is let's say 55,000 and I'm contributing 11% as my pension, obviously it will be higher. If I'm collecting 2,000, then the amount will be lesser.
SSNIT is urging active contributors to merge their SSNIT numbers with their Ghana cars.
The introduction of the purchase price of cashew for the 2022 purchasing season is gradually bringing sanity into the industry, as cashew farmers in the Tyne district of the Punu region say they are encouraged to expand their farms. The farmers are urging the government to focus more on the product since it has the capacity to bring in considerable revenue earnings to the country.
Government in December 2021 announced the purchasing price for cashew for the first time in the country's history, where no buyer could buy a kilogram of cashew below 5 cedis. In 2020, cashew nut exports from Ghana yielded around $322 million. According to data from the Bank of Ghana, the country earned $128 million from cashew nut exports in the first quarter of 2021. Cashew farmers in the Tyne district say the introduction of the purchasing price by government is bringing sanity into the industry. Some of the farmers say they are encouraged to expand their farms.
Because when you look at this year, no farmer was panicking as the price going down to 1 cedi 50 pesos like the previous years. And when you even have your cashew, you can assemble them, whether they are 10 bags, 20 bags, then you sell them at one point. That will fetch you the money that you can do a project with it at a go. But previously, we used to sell them one bag, half bag, because we think that the price might drop. So fixing of the price is something that has really helped we farmers. So we thank government for what he has done for us.
It has helped very well. Why am I saying this? Previously, farmers or producers and buyers were fighting over price of the cashew nuts. But with the coming of the price fixed by the government, the rules are already set, and nobody is supposed to buy below the minimum price pronounced by the government. And so when you bring your product, the price is already there. And so people were not fighting. Buyers and sellers were not fighting any longer. And so to me, it has helped a lot. Besides that, initially, price of the product could drop. I quite remember some years it dropped from 8 cedis per kilo to 4 cedis per kilo, and even to 2 cedis per kilo. Now that the government has fixed the price, we don't have those issues any longer, and so it has helped to me. And we are looking maybe in future it will be better.
The chairman of the Tyne Cashew Farmers Association, Alex Bonsu, on his part called on the farmers to follow the best practices in cultivating so that they can get good yields.
As an association, I will ask farmers to take good care of their farms, because the price started from 5 cedis last year. I know this year the price might go up a little. So farmers should work hard. We have to maintain our farms well.
Well, it's a wrap for today's edition of the most watched business show in the country. This is the Business Weekly Show here on Citi TV. For more business stories, please check out our website, citibusinessnews.com, and keep your dial logged on Citi TV as we bring you more info on our This is Ghana Fair. My name is Michael Obodu. Let's connect on Twitter @mobodu. Catch you same time next week. Stay safe, stay informed. Bye-bye.